Justice Department's Mar-a-Lago documents case, and it could land two senior Trump Organization executives and longtime close associates of the former president in the hot seat. Specifically, there's exclusive new reporting that Special Counsel Jack Smith is looking into how the Trump Organization, how the company handled surveillance video from Mar-a-Lago, and that the grand jury is expected to hear tomorrow from the father and son executives at the Trump Organization, two guys named Matthew Calamari Sr. and Jr. CNN senior crime and justice reporter Caitlin Polantz has the exclusive, joins us now. So what more are you learning about these latest moves by Jack Smith?
Well, Anderson, Paula Reed and I were able to confirm from many sources that it is quite clear prosecutors are asking questions about the handling of surveillance tapes and conversations that would have taken place about those surveillance tapes at a time last year when the Justice Department wanted access to them. So we're talking about surveillance tapes at Mar-a-Lago in Florida that would have been owned by the Trump Organization, Donald Trump's resort. And these were tapes that the Justice Department was demanding that they see last year as they were looking at whether there were documents being kept in Florida. And so they sent a subpoena for those tapes. And now we know the prosecutors are looking at that episode of time. This is before the FBI went in and searched the property, because on those tapes, ultimately, they were able to see boxes being moved. But the questions now are about the tapes themselves. It's just another leg of this investigation. And there is going to be grand jury activity, we know, tomorrow, where the two men, Matthew Calamari and his son, Matthew Calamari Jr., are expected to be testifying to the grand jury.
The Calamari's names have popped up on and off throughout, the last couple of years. Can you just remind our viewers about the role that the Calamaris play in the former president's organization, the Trump Organization?
Yeah, I mean, these are two very senior people, people who are very close to Donald Trump in his business empire. They're working out of New York. Matthew Calamari Sr., he's an executive vice president and the chief operating officer. He became a person of interest in that New York investigation around the Trump Organization and their business dealings. He's somebody whose lifestyle, his apartment, his car is subsidized by the Trump Organization. And his son, Matthew Calamari Jr., is the director of security for the Trump Organization. And so these two people clearly are the people that would be responsible for these surveillance tapes that are owned by the organization and then ultimately were turned over to the Justice Department.
CNN's previously reported that another close aide of the former president was seen on camera moving boxes containing documents out of a Mar-a-Lago storage closet. To be clear, what we're talking about tonight is a separate inquiry into how the surveillance footage itself was handled, right?
That's right, Anderson. So we are getting a taste, though, that person is named Walt Nauta. He works for Donald Trump. He's on his payroll down in Mar-a-Lago. He travels with Donald Trump quite often. That this is all sort of, it might have a connection, right? So Walt Nauta was seen on those surveillance tapes moving boxes with another employee of Donald Trump's in Mar-a-Lago. And we do know that the Calamaris, one of the things that they're being asked about is potential conversations with people in the Trump world, people like potentially Walt Nauta, and we were able to confirm that there was at least a text message between him and Matthew Calamari Sr. that is part of this portion of the inquiry. So there's a lot of things that could be potential obstruction cases that the Justice Department is investigating, the special counsel is looking at. This is another leg of that possibility of an obstruction case. Anderson?
All right, Caitlin Polantz, appreciate it. Thanks. Joining me now, CNN senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Elie Honig. So how big a deal is it the special counsel's office reportedly looking into the surveillance footage issue?
Well, Anderson, this tells me once again that prosecutors here are squarely focused on potential obstruction of justice. Now, it's important to understand why this surveillance video is so important, because the underlying case about the handling of these classified documents really depends on where were these documents stored, where were the actual boxes, who had access, and were they moved. This video footage from inside Mar-a-Lago would presumably be the best possible evidence of that. And Anderson, one really important detail from Caitlin's reporting is that this is a new round of subpoenas, and that tells me that prosecutors, in what they had already gathered, saw something about this footage that made them say, hold on, there's a problem here, now we need to dig into this.
What kind of evidence would the special counsel need in order to send out this latest round of subpoenas?
So they would need some evidence. They would need some basis to send the subpoenas. They would need something that indicated to them either that some of this footage was tampered with or was withheld. What types of evidence are they looking for? I think the testimony from the two individuals we've been talking about, the two Calamaris, is going to be crucial to figure out who downloaded, essentially, who accessed that video footage, who was responsible for turning it over to DOJ, and then is there a gap there?
So how concerned do you think the former president would be about the Calamaris going before the grand jury tomorrow?
So as Caitlin's reporting reminds us, they are absolutely insiders in the Trump org. On the other hand, they have shown repeatedly that they're loyal to Donald Trump. They refuse to flip on him in the various financial investigations that were happening in the state. So we'll see. I mean, I presume prosecutors have real, tangible evidence that they can cross-examine or question these individuals with in front of the grand jury. They're under oath. Prosecutors, I don't think, are going to bring these two in and just hope for the best. I think they're going to have the goods to back up whatever they need to ask them.
All right, Elie Honig, appreciate it.